Friday. This is going to be a good podcast. What do you think, Tracy?
I don't know.
I don't know. You better have your homework done.
I have some homework done.
All right. Welcome to podcast number 27. My name is Tracy, and this is...
You're off to an awesome start.
I know. You got to have some bloopers. I got to have some bloopers.
You got one right there.
My name is Chris, and that over there is...
Tracy.
Tracy what? I can't even hear
Whatever.
you. What? Speak a little bit.
Tracy.
Tracy. Turn that mic up.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's kind of low. I think I'm pretty loud. Either way, welcome to the podcast, everybody. Podcast number 27. And this is going to be a real cool one. And can you get a little bit more? Let me see if I can center you, but can you center yourself in the picture? Yeah. You always got it off for a little bit. It doesn't matter. Here we go. All right. Okay, there you go. A little bit more. There we go. Yes, that's what we want right there.
Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. So, on Facebook, I posted that said that this is what our wives don't want to talk about, and it's going to be at the very end, so you're going to have to listen. And I don't know if anybody's watching, but I'll try to get the comments as soon as possible. Last time we were asked to get more comments out faster, so we'll do that. Tracy's very slow at it. I've tried to get him to get faster and faster, but he just, I don't know. It's just him.
You got problems,
man. Anyway, welcome. So what we're going to talk about is some crazy stuff that two men don't have no knowledge about other than reading history books. And last time we talked about on the podcast, we talked about growth and motorcycles and Harley and Indian and what kind of segments should they go after and that kind of stuff. And what we found out, Tracy, is what growth of motorcycle riders are women this day, today.
Yeah, 20%.
Well, what is it? What?
20%.
20%. If that's true, right? It could be 25, 23. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be more or less. Yeah.
And that's just amazing, ain't it? I mean, it really is.
I think so. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. How you doing, Tracy, son? Anyway, so I got this information from VikingBags.com, and
I had this on that website. Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So in 2009, it was about 10% is what they projected, and in 2012 it jumped up to 12, and in 2014 it jumped up to 14%. It's kind of weird how these numbers are almost with the last two digits of the year. Mm-hmm. And then current is 20%, which is pretty cool. And the near future is about to be 25, which it could be pretty close right now. Because I don't know when this actual graph was down, but thank you VikingBags.com for this image here, because I searched.
And just to clarify, this is for the United States, not the world.
Yeah,
because we know overseas everybody rides bikes.
Yeah, exactly. So, what do you think about that, Tracy?
I think it's an accurate statement for sure. I mean, just based on your wife and my wife riding, I would have never dreamt I'd get my wife on any kind of bike or anything, and she did it, and your wife does it.
Yep.
And I think more and more people out there are doing it. So,
tired of riding behind you.
Yeah. My wife doesn't like to ride behind me, so.
That's a good thing, actually.
And I don't think your wife likes to ride behind you, or you don't like your wife riding behind you because she falls asleep on you.
I don't get so close to the subject that we're going to be talking about here.
All right. Les
and Heather, how you doing? Welcome to the podcast. All right, so there we go. But anyway, if anybody's on here that's new to this podcast, please subscribe and like. That's how we grow. So if you like it, like it. If you don't like it, just put in the comments and say what we need to do is change. I know Tracy's the number one change that I need to do.
I agree.
All right, so let's get into this. And I don't know. I'm very bad at pronouncing names and that kind of stuff. So maybe I'll just do some short text on these. And I'm going to tell you, there's a couple. We're going to talk about women motorcyclists that kind of started this whole thing back in the day. And there was a lot of obstacles that they had to take care of. One was men. The other one was government and laws and stuff like that. And it was kind of hard, but there was a couple women that kind of pushed forward. What do you think, Tracy? You think it's
I
accurate?
think that's an accurate statement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the first one I came up with was the story of, what is this, Connie?
Oh, I don't know. I'm waiting for it to change.
Oh yeah, Avis and Effie.
Yes, Avis and Effie.
Hotchkiss. Like I said, I'm terrible.
Hotchkiss, very good.
I'm terrible at pronouncing names, so I'm really taking the time to do this. But anyway, that's her mom in the sidecar, and she is actually riding a 11F, I think, Harley Davidson. We'll find out here more about it. But they were living in New York, and they traveled across the United States of America and landed in California. And how do we know? Because there was a bunch of pictures every place they went. And eventually they got to the beach, and they took a picture of the beach in California. And the motorcycle was on the beach. Now, they had a lot of problems, going across the country, weather and, people and that kind of stuff. But it's a pretty cool story. And I know Tracy didn't really research for this one.
No,
but
right.
I mean, it's kind of, they didn't really do anything else after this. So the story kind of ends right after that. We don't know. She got a ton of bikes like Tracy. And we don't know. We don't know exactly what happened, but they winded up starting at Brooklyn, New York, and they went to San Francisco, California, but also because of the time in which they did it, the early 20th century was a period when women's roles were largely confined to the domestic sphere, and everybody knows what that is, right? So a lot of things have changed since then, and women can, I've seen some of the YouTube videos of women riding motorcycles, especially these crotch rockets, where they're just doing donuts and
there's that one lady that's on there all the time on the shorts. Some of the stuff she does is just insane.
Yeah, it's insane, and I think that's what's really driving some of this for the younger girls is videos like that from that girl. I wish I knew that girl's name.
Absolutely.
Maybe on the next podcast
I don't know.
we'll talk about
Yeah,
that
we'll have to find her. Yeah.
Yeah. So they also encountered rough roads, mechanical issues.
Well, yeah, you got to think back then they didn't have the kind of streets that we have today.
And then back then days, the motorcycles broke down every 3 miles, probably. Such as a Harley Davidson.
I mean,
it's like an oil. Got to put another cord in.
Probably. I don't know, man. They made it though. They made it. So you got to give credit.
Yeah, they did. They did. And I'm sure a lot of people helped. A lot of people helped them. But it was, it's challenging, man. I'm just happy they did it.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind too, just looking at that bike that you showed back in that first slide.
Yeah.
That bike. I mean, what it says here was 1,000 cc. I'm having a hard time believing that, but I didn't think they had that kind of power back then. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They said here it was a 3-speed gearbox at a cost of $275.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why.
They said she did her. She was a good mechanic and did her own repairs with her own tools.
Oh, that's kind of impressive right there too. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me see if I can get these pictures over there. So let's see your copy. Okay, let's get you Tracy over on the other side because looks like I'm having a little issue here. What is it? We're having these technical difficulties here. For some reason, I just deleted our images off the screen. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, that's not good. We had a good plane going.
I know, but anyway, I'm going to skip to Betsy, the queen of my Bessie. I'm sorry, Bessie. Bessie.
All together now.
Yeah, what's
Bessie?
Bessie.
And I'm going to let you talk about that while I get these things fixed. Okay.
Well, while you're working on that, So first thing I want to say is I want to thank Max because when we were at the restaurant at Buffalo Bob's on Wednesday, I was sitting across Max, and Max was telling me all kinds of really cool stories. And when he was telling me about this one, I kind of sent messages back and forth to my wife, giving her some of the info so that we could have the info to look up later. And I was so fascinated by this particular story, and this is one of the ideas that led to this podcast. So I want to thank Max for talking to me about her, and all the credit goes to him because, to be honest, I knew nothing about this lady until Max told me.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Bessie Stringfield. I mean, she was the first Black woman to ride across the country, but not just one time, not 2 times, not 3, not 4, 8 times
8
she went
times.
across country.
What was
Wow,
she
that's
riding?
amazing.
A Harley Davidson.
Interesting.
But at any rate, she
Mhm.
crossed the country 8 times. Here's another key to that: in 4 years. So that means she did it on average twice a year.
Wow.
That's just incredible. One of my and I've got a lot of information about her, and I'll go over that. But one of my favorite things about her is because this is something that you'll laugh about, Chris.
Mhm.
Chris likes to make fun of me about the amount of motorcycles that I've had. You know how many I've had in my garage at one time, which I think, what was the max number? 6, 7, 6,
At one time,
6, I think.
maybe.
This lady owned 27 Harley Davidsons.
That's called a
Wow.
collection.
She had 27 Harley Davidsons.
That's just crazy.
But I will give an interesting fact. She did not start out riding a Harley Davidson. She actually started out on a 1928 Indian Scout,
Yes,
which
she
I'm
did.
sure that will make you happy, Chris, to hear that she
Mhm.
did ride an Indian to start off. And she was how old when she did that? What was her age when she started riding? Do you
I
know?
don't know. That's crazy. You
She
tell me.
was 16 years old. 16. By the time she was 18,
Yeah.
she had already pioneered for Harley Davidson and started riding for Harley Davidson by the time she was 18 years old.
Nice.
She was born in, now there's some conflicting stories out there. So if I say anything that's wrong, I apologize, because there are differing stories out there. But apparently she was born in Edenton, North Carolina. However, later in life, she claims she was born where, Chris?
You tell me.
Jamaica. Somewhere in Jamaica. Yeah.
Jamaica. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Mhm.
Now, both of her parents were from Jamaica, okay?
Mhm.
But the actual records on her birth were in Edenton, North Carolina. That's where her birthplace actually took place,
Gotcha.
which was in 1911. So, having said the 8 cross-country tours, I can't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine doing one. I'm pretty wimpy. I had a hard time doing the 176 miles that we did to Madison. I could not imagine riding cross-country 8 times. I mean, that's just incredible to me. But another interesting fact is she actually won awards racing at flat tracks. She was actually a motorcycle racer on flat tracks. However, she never got to collect any of her trophies because she was a woman.
Wow.
The men didn't agree with her getting to even run in the races, let alone win the races. And that was a big controversy that she had gone through in part of her life. She also served for the Army. There's the World War II, yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
She was a courier for the Army, and I believe that most of her cross-country trips were due to this job. Now, I'm not 100% on that. I'm still working on that, but I do believe that her cross-country tours were because of this.
So she didn't serve overseas. She served on the continent, right? United States, right?
Yes, that is what I have
Motor
gathered
country.
so far. Yes, correct.
Yeah, gotcha. All right.
And then I
That's cool
believe
stuff.
later on she becomes a nurse. I want to say she becomes a nurse at some point in her life. She was also a housekeeper and some other things. And in the 1950s, she moved to Miami, Florida. And this is where she earned her label as the Queen of Miami.
Okay.
So this is where she gathered that title that we talked about earlier. So in the 50s, she had an issue in Florida. She got pulled over by some police officers, and they instructed her that she could not ride motorcycles. It was illegal for her to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know all the full details to that. I still am, I'm still working on the research on that. And there's actually some documentaries, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And then there's also some books about this woman. But she challenged the police. And based on what I read, apparently they took her into the jail or whatever. And she had a conversation with the captain, and the captain tried to explain to her, look, women just do not ride motorcycles. That's not, we don't do that here. And so she convinced the captain to let her take him to a parking lot and show him how she could ride. And when she did this, the captain was blown away at her skills and told her, you can do whatever you want. You can ride wherever you want to ride. So I found that to be interesting. I'm sure there's a lot more detail on that particular incident in her life, but I thought that was pretty cool. In 2000, the American Motorcycle Association created the Bessie Stringfield Memorial Award, which they give out. I don't know if it's on a yearly basis or not, but you see that in there, yeah. And then she was also entered into the Hall of Fame in 2002, which I find to be very cool. Again, we talked about her 27 Harley Davidsons, and then the documentary. If anybody's interested and wants to see that, which I do, and I'm hoping we can find that to watch. I'd like my wife and I to watch it. It's called "To Myself with Love: The Bessie Stringfield Story." That's a documentary that was done in 2023. Actually, they just did that a year ago. And again, when I get more information, we can post on where you can find that at and where that's able to be seen. And then again, there's numerous books out. One of the ladies that wrote a book on her last name was Farrar, Farrar. Again, there's a lot more information I want to get to know on this, but it gives you something to read on for her.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, she broke a lot of barriers, man. I mean, that's good
for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
and one of the things we didn't talk about yet, but like you said, she wasn't allowed to stay in any hotels or anything like that. She had to sleep on her motorcycle because she was black. They wouldn't let her have a motel or a hotel room.
Yep. And thank God it's a lot changed. I mean, a lot of things have changed since then, man. It's
absolutely
to the better. We're all equal these days, and that's good. And I appreciate, I appreciate people that push them boundaries back in them days, man. That's what that's what makes this country great, And
well, like I said, just the feat to go cross country is just I don't know. Can you fathom doing that? Do you think could you see yourself doing that?
Well, this day of age, yeah, I mean, the motorcycles are much better. You get there faster. They don't break down as much back in them days. I'm sure she had mechanical problems left and right. I mean, I think one of the stories was that she most of these ladies, these motorcycles just ate oil. So they had to take oil with them all the time on these long distances. I mean, not just getting gas. They had to put oil in these motorcycles almost at the same time they put gas in it. It was just burning it up, man. And I mean, there's a lot of challenges. I mean, it's crazy.
And to go to about this woman, I mean, she couldn't get a hotel room. I'm sure that there was a lot of places where she stopped to get service because back then they had full service gas stations.
Yeah.
They pumped your gas. They did put the oil. They did all that for you. I would be willing to bet that she probably couldn't get that same service.
Oh, I'm sure. Back in the days.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's sad.
But I want to thank Max again for the info on this lady and getting us started looking into this lady. Just an incredible story. She is definitely an inspiration for motorcyclists.
Yeah, and a cool fact, man. So I found this out, and Tracy couldn't even find this, huh? But a cool fact here. So she used to toss a coin on a map, and that's where she would go.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, get the map of the United States and flip the coin, and wherever it landed, Betsy would go.
Well, and that's another thing. They didn't have GPS back then, dude. They had to figure their route out. You know what I mean? Like, they had to map it out.
So the article I read
on paper.
On paper, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So she didn't just ride in the U.S. The article I saw said she rode all over Europe, Brazil, and Haiti as well.
Yeah, she rode in different countries as well.
Not just the U.S.
Yeah. So she's got skills for bills, man, for sure. Yeah, you're right. I did read that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
funny
it's a
because
great
she
story.
was stationed here and not overseas.
Well, I think those rides you're talking about were for the Army.
Yeah,
I do believe those rides were for the Army.
Yeah.
If you research that deeper, I think that's what that was about.
So maybe when she was over in Europe, she was, in combat zones, riding the motorcycle.
She may very well have been. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't look at too much in that story.
Like I said, I don't have enough info yet on it. That's why I want to watch the documentary and get more on it.
Well, there may not be a whole lot of information about her in the service either.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that could be true too. I don't know.
Yeah. Men were documented, women were not so much.
Okay, that could be true. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she is telling the truth there, Tracy.
No, I agree with that.
It was hard for women to do anything other than
right.
And I don't want to put quotes in here, being some part of the kitchen, So
But
That's what
that
they
is,
say.
you're
Yeah,
exactly right.
yeah,
They were expected to be at home and to do the home
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
yeah.
what I'm saying is they kept track of these servicemen, but not so much the nurses that were
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah. Because I couldn't find any. I looked for her service, World War II, and I couldn't find very many pictures of
Right.
her other
That.
than wearing the hat
Mhm.
and a couple other things. That was about it. So, but it's
Oh,
like I said, it's an amazing story. I'm glad that we are talking about it. I was actually watching some YouTube videos about it today, but it was enough information for me. I didn't have time to put more information in it because I've been working and you've been working.
Right.
And most of
Right.
the time we search for Google, we get our information in text forms, and
Yeah.
sometimes YouTube videos are pretty good. So you just put her name in there, Bessie Springfield, and bam, you'll get a bunch of videos up. And you don't know. Sometimes they're a little bit, they're factual, and sometimes they're just, creative a little bit. But this story is 100% factual. What Tracy's been saying,
hmm
she was pushing the boundaries back them days, and
Big
she
time.
did an incredible job
hmm
for lady motorcycle riders.
And then I know you don't have any photos of her when she was at her older age, but when you look at
Hmm.
photos of her when she was like in her late 70s and 80s, you
Hmm.
would never in your wildest dreams ever thought that woman threw a leg over a motorcycle. You, by looking at her, you would never dream it. Like this picture that you have up right now,
Yeah,
you could feel she could ride a motorcycle, but when you
yeah.
look at her at her elderly age, you would never dream in your wildest dreams what she accomplished.
Hmm.
You would never dream it.
she's kind of portrayed in the pictures as prim and proper.
Yeah. Well, that's
I'm sure.
true. Well,
I'm sure she
I'm sure
was.
they were
Yeah.
raised that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were probably raised that way.
Uh-huh. All right. So the next story of two women motorcyclists that went across the country is the Van Buren sisters, and this is a pretty wild story here too. And there's a cool fact at the very end. This story, this is not going to be as long as Betsy because we got a lot more information on Betsy's than the rest of them. But it's actually, these women, they pushed the boundaries, and there was a lot of women that still didn't care what people thought and just did what they wanted to do, and that's what shaped this country. So these two sisters are part of this, and they're kind of almost the same period. This is like 1920 or something like that, around there.
I think you said 1915.
1915. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they actually rode across America on Indian motorcycles, Tracy.
hmm
And you won't believe this. They had gas lights. Their lights were, powered by gas. So
That's kind of interesting.
yeah,
Never heard that
interesting.
before.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. So anyway, let's get started on this story. And so the Van Buren sisters, and I'm not going to say their names because I'll just tear them up, were pioneer women in the early days of motorcycle in 1916. You're right. It was pretty close.
Yeah,
They made
1960.
history.
My bad.
Yeah, they made history by becoming the first two ladies to cross America on solo motorcycle bikes. Indian motorcycle bikes, by the way. And and they also got arrested. They got arrested a couple times too, just because women wasn't supposed to be on motorcycles.
Right. That's exactly right.
And it was crazy that was the way this world was. I mean, it was nuts. Just I'm not. Connie. I mean, can you imagine being 1916? Going down the street wearing men's pants? You would be arrested for it. I mean, it's serious. This is how bad it was back in them days. And
Things were
it's
different.
amazing how this country has reformed itself over the years, and it's got away from that really quickly. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, how many years has that been?
You're
It's
looking
about
at
over
108 years.
Yeah,
108 years. Yeah.
108 years. I mean, that's a short period of time if you really think about it. That means like if somebody lived for 100 years, they would be able to see the progression of this and tell a great history story.
Well,
It's
when we were kids, there would
yeah.
be people out there that would have actually lived this probably.
Yeah.
If you go back to like 1980, they would have only been 64, 65 years old, whatever.
Yep.
Well,
You know what I mean?
The nun that supports Loyola basketball, she's 106.
Is she really?
Wow, she would know this. She would
So
know
yeah,
this story.
she was born
Yeah.
2 years after this. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's very. Whew, and Have you talked
Like
to her ever?
Queen Elizabeth would be one of those people that would have got to see some of this
Yeah.
happen.
Except that she's on the other side of the
No, but I'm
pond.
saying she would have experienced life
Yeah,
in
she
this
would
time
experience,
frame. Is what I mean. Yeah.
yeah.
Can you imagine though? It says here they set off on July 4th,
Mm-hmm.
and they arrived in Los Angeles on September 8th.
Ugh.
Oh wow, it took that long. Well, remember they had
Yes.
mechanical issues and stuff, so there was probably massive delays involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though they it says here they ran Firestone non-skid tires.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Firestone back in them days. I mean, Firestone's one of the oldest tire companies in the country, so I can imagine that. They're probably one of the first ones, actually.
Says they ran into many natural barriers like the Rocky Mountains and social barriers like the local police
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did
that took
it say
offense.
how old they were?
Yeah,
Or
that's
what
a good
year
question.
this was?
In 1916, 32-year-old Augusta
So they were
So they were in
30s.
their 30s.
30s.
and
Okay.
27-year-old Adeline.
Okay, so they had a 5-year gap between the two. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Way to get that information, Connie. That's cool.
5,500 miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they crossed rough pavement roads, mountain ranges, and deserts, and the journey took them 2 months, during which they faced numerous challenges, including mechanical breakdowns, harsh weather conditions, and even arrests. I wonder how many times they got arrested.
I don't know. I'd be curious to know that.
And sometimes for wearing men's clothing. That's nuts.
Which
Back
was
in the
required
day.
for practical riding. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't want to be riding a dress, and that's what they expected you back in them days, to be wearing a dress. If you were a
That is
woman.
true.
It
Yeah,
kinda
that is
sucks.
true.
I think it's amazing they had gas headlights though.
Yeah.
That I want to do more research on. I've never heard of
that's-
such a thing.
I haven't either. It's really interesting.
All right. So let's go to the next screen.
So does that mean motorcycles in that time frame didn't even have a battery?
Probably not. They probably had that what is it, the thing that kept on, running, the coils and stuff like that. I can't remember what they actually call the thing that spins around and keeps it running.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, back in them days, they had to kickstart them, so they didn't have batteries.
Maybe that'll be our next one of our, not next, but one of our future podcasts is just talking about the evolution of motorcycles, how they started out to nowadays. That'd be cool.
That's a good topic. I mean, I'm surprised nobody has any comments tonight. Come on, guys, give us some thumbs up if you're watching. Please, thumbs ups. There's 10 people watching. Get us the thumbs. Subscribe if you can. Subscribe. It's all good. Anyway, let's go to the next one here. And I'm glad I got this fixed. I can just copy and paste these pictures in there, Tracy, so I don't have to worry about readjusting them. Yeah. So today, the Van Buren sisters are remembered as trailblazers who challenged, the social norms and paved the way for women in both motorcycle and other male-dominated fields. So they did some other stuff also. Their journey is often, in motorcycle events, and legacy serves as a powerful reminder of importance and representations of the courage in the face of adversity. I mean, that's awesome.
Now, do you know if these two women were inducted into the Hall of Fame or no?
That's a good question. I imagine they probably did, because a fun fact, Tracy, Van Buren sisters, what was their names, Connie?
Adeline and Gussie, I think.
Augusta.
Good save.
Adelaide and Gussie.
We're related to a prominent historic figure. Okay. They were great-great-granddaughters of Martin Van Buren, the 8th president of the United States of America. That's crazy. So even though they were, family and stuff like that to a president of the United States, they still had so much difficulties getting across the United States of America at that time. It's just crazy.
Well, it's not like you could prove that back then.
Yeah, I know. You probably couldn't. I mean, just their last name would be kind of surprising, but they probably took other names if they were married. So I don't know. Connie, you could look it up and see if they got married.
I could try, yeah.
Yeah, and find out about that.
Speaking of marriages, did you know that Bessie had been married 6 times?
Oh my.
Wow.
And she decided out of all of her marriages to keep her 3rd husband's last name. I found that to be funny.
I mean, you do look at the history back then. Men wasn't the nicest person in the world when they got upset towards women, A lot
Well,
of
and with
cops
her,
would look at it and just turn the other way. It was some difficult times for women. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of women that had great marriages and great husbands and stuff like that, but there was a couple, that's in the, that was problem solver. I mean, not problem solvers, but creators. So, but anyway, thanks for the likes. Thanks for the thumbs up. It's awesome. So anyway, let's get to this last one here. That's the Betsy Queen. I think that's it. So that's the 3 that we talked about. I think it's exciting that actually there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women that we talked about tonight. 2 sisters, a mom and daughter, and then we had Betsy.
I do have an
Bessie.
update for
Yeah.
you.
What's that?
Well, Adeline Van Buren said she had another name called Adeline Tully. So I believe she married a Tully.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's
then
interesting.
the other one, I believe it said her other name was Augusta Roberts. So what I found interesting, obviously they were married. What I found interesting was it says later in life, Adeline continued her career as an educator and earned her law degree from New York University.
Nice.
And this is a kicker. Augusta became a pilot and joined Amelia Earhart's 99's International Women's Flying Organization. She had that need for speed.
Wow.
So they not only were they, talented, but they were also super intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. They had great careers. Awesome
Just
careers
all the way
time.
around, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh,
So
I keep on
that's
going to these wrong screens here.
awesome.
Technical difficulties tonight, man. Anyway, so that's some cool stuff, man. I mean, so we got 2 women here right now. So this is the discussion that women hate to talk about.
Oh, here we go. That's what I'm worried about.
Heather's
I've been
on here
wondering
too.
all
Oh,
day. what
Heather's
this
on
is gonna
here,
be.
and
Heather's here.
Here we go. Criticisms coming up.
yeah. So I mean, the world has changed for the better, in many ways, for all of us, right? And in motorcycles, a lot of women they either want to get on a motorcycle or they want to get one. And what's them called? Rikers. Rikers.
Yeah. Like Can-Ams, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but they just don't do it, right? I mean, they get scared. I mean, even though they watch YouTube videos, because my wife's watched like 5,000 videos of a Riker or Striker or whatever it's called, and she's eventually, hopefully, she gets one, and she's gonna be, telling us on our road trips and stuff like that. But Tracy, what do you think?
I think it's awesome. I think my wife's gonna get one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love the one I had.
I know we should have never got rid of her. That was the biggest mistake we ever made.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And now she's paying the price for it with her shoulder.
Well, you know what? I hate
Oh.
to say this, but now I mean, when she had that accident, now she knows something about herself, and she can, that she probably didn't know about.
That's valid. She had some medical tests ran, and we figured out that she has some issues that we didn't know she had going into it. You're right.
Yeah, so that was early adoption of what she has to do
What
the rest of her
the
life.
future could, and what the future could have been. Yeah, that's true.
Which and that's one thing that I think the difference between a motorcycle and a car is the foot pedals and the handlebars, and because these days, the only thing you have on a steering wheel is the volume control on some cars, and play the next song, or you can look at some stuff, but I rarely use any of that stuff, okay, because I still go over there and hit the next song,
Right.
volume. I just turn the volume up, push it on the thing. I don't use any of that stuff back there. So but on the bottom, it's the clutch is on the bottom of the car, right? So and a lot of people don't even drive clutch cars anymore. So there's really only a brake and there's a gas pedal. Okay.
Yeah.
And on handlebars, your gas is over here on the right side, and then your clutch is on this side, and your shifting, which would be down here, is on your left foot, and your back brake is on your right foot. So there's a lot of things, a lot of coordination that you have to do on a motorcycle. And I've seen men do this, and I've seen women do this, and that's called what is it? Whiskey
Whiskey
Throttle.
Throttle.
Yes. Soon
Ask
as,
Jill. She knows.
yeah.
That's
So
me.
That would be my wife.
So as soon as you get on it, you know, hey, what's up, Connie? Thanks for watching. Please go to YouTube and subscribe. And thanks for watching. She used to work with me a long time ago. But anyway, so it's Whiskey Throttle, okay? And I've seen this happen. I've even had a vendor that had this happen, and he's been riding bikes for 10 years. And he got on a new bike, and as soon as he got on it, he pulled that throttle back, but it was more powerful than what they thought. Because when you're pushing on gas, you don't just like ease it up. You just like push the gas and you start moving. On a motorcycle, you push gas, you're going like 30 miles per hour in a matter of seconds, because you don't know in your mind to let go of the throttle,
Because it's in your hand, not on your foot.
Well, and
Yeah.
you think you're pulling the brake
Mhm.
at the same time, and you
Yep.
kind of are, but you're not. And at that
Yeah.
point, it's too late. You've wobbled and you're down.
And she's first one experience with it.
So I had this vendor that went through the side of the house and scraped up his whole side and took his ear off because he wasn't wearing a
I
helmet.
didn't need to hear that.
Well, they reconstructed it and it looks pretty normal. Hey,
So he's like
Max.
RoboCop.
Welcome to
Helmet,
the podcast.
helmet.
Mm-hmm. And are you just joining us, Max? You just missed some good stories.
Oh yeah, Max, this whole thing was for you.
You have to go back on this one. But yeah. So Whiskey Throttle is a bad thing. I can't understand why I can't talk tonight, but we'll get this figured out. But it's a real thing, and I think it's one of the biggest fears and new motorcycle riders have. And matter of fact, they probably didn't know they have that fear. As soon as they hit the gas, that's the reason why they don't let go, And then they say, I'm never going to touch a motorcycle ever again, And
that's my wife.
That's your wife.
She said never again.
Never
Well,
again.
I'll get back on my Riker.
She'll get back on a Riker, but she
Yeah,
won't do a motorcycle.
And that's more closer. It's like in between of a car. I mean, the throttle's still up there.
Like a
brakes
quad,
little bit,
more like it's
more
like
of a
riding
quad.
a quad.
It's exactly like a quad.
Yeah, and it's a little bit easier. But when you just start getting on a motorcycle, it's kind of it's like fear. You think it's easy because you're just riding not a motorcycle, but a bicycle, right? You're just gonna pedal. You're just gonna get going. And everything's fine. As soon as you push that throttle, and it actually this is what kind of pushes you back a little bit, and you just keep pulling it, and it just keeps going, and you just don't realize, oh my God, I gotta stop. And then you hit a tree, or you hit a side of a building,
very close.
Or a curb.
Or curb.
or curb, and stuff like that. So I would say, go to a parking lot, and hey, Ride with Purpose, how's it going? Welcome to the podcast. So yeah, go to a church, go to a parking lot, start on a small motorcycle. Okay. Even Jill was on a small motorcycle and it still freaked her out. But you just gotta, and if there's somebody there, that's teaching you something. And the most important thing to tell them is about the throttle system, and the braking and stuff like that. And that's what you need to concentrate on when you're riding that motorcycle. Thanks. No problem, Max. We'll see you tomorrow. Let me know what you think about the stories. We did have some technical difficulties, nothing sound-wise, but we didn't have our picture the first couple moments of this podcast, but I got that figured out pretty easy. But yeah, what do you think, Tracy? You got any input on this? I mean, you've helped your wife a little bit.
The one thing I will say is make sure you're wearing your full gear. Had she not had her full gear on, her situation would have been 10 times worse. I mean, her helmet took a major blow. It was beat up pretty bad. And, the day before, which I think you still had your helmet on the day before, correct?
I did, but I was in shorts and a tank top.
But she was in shorts and a tank top the day before. And luckily, we were going on a much different ride the next day, so she geared up, which normally we always did. She always does gear up. Yeah. But anyway, had she not had her helmet on, there's no telling what damage would have happened to her head or her face because she hit that curb really hard. And then also her jacket was completely messed up, and that would have been her skin. And so again, I mean, the gear is there for a reason. There's a reason to have the gear. But yeah, as far as the throttle goes, here's somebody that she had been riding for about a month. Wouldn't you say about a month?
Well, that was my third bike. I had a bike in
Well,
between
I
that
know,
too.
but like consistent riding. This was like
Yeah.
about a month you'd been riding.
Mhm.
And I was getting confident to the point with her after watching her for a month to start thinking about exploring out onto real roads. We'd kept her in the subdivision for the first month because I didn't want to let her go until I felt good about it. And obviously, after this incident, I didn't feel good about anything. But no, it was just a mistake. She got on, she started the bike. She didn't realize what she had done. Her glove. She never likes wearing gloves, and she had her gloves on, and her gloves stuck the throttle, and it just took off. And keep in mind, this bike was an automatic; it wasn't a clutch, so she didn't need a clutch. And that was another whole issue. Had it been a manual transmission motorcycle, this would have never happened. But
No, I'd have stalled out.
should
But I still would have wobbled.
well, had you gone off, yeah. But at any rate, always wear your gear. We've talked about it in almost all of our podcasts that we've talked about safety. Gear is 100% important. And then, like Chris said, make sure you go to somewhere that's closed, not any live cars around, where you got plenty of space and area, and do your practicing. Don't try to do it in somewhere where you. Luckily for her, there was nobody else coming. There was no cars. It was early in a Sunday morning. But yeah, it's definitely not a good thing.
So Connie, I mean, you started riding motorcycles, when you were young. When would you think was the first time you rode a motorcycle?
Oh, probably when I was about 8.
8 years old, and they were pretty much Hondas,
Honda 70s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, like those little mini bikes? Those
The
are
little
cool.
mini bikes. Yeah. We had a lot of property. We used to ride the mini bikes everywhere, build bridges across the creeks, stuff like that.
Did you ever have one of those Honda 3-wheelers, those killer machines they called them?
See, we did not. We had a
You
big
did
John Deere
not?
tractor with the single little, or the 2 little small little double wheels on the front of that.
Oh,
But
I got
Yeah,
you.
I remember
Yeah.
them.
those were interesting. But talking about Whiskey Throttle, I really had to pay attention because I'm so used to 2 wheels. I really had to pay attention on the Can-Ams
Oh, okay.
because
Yeah.
there's no clutch,
Mm-hmm.
there's no brake on the top. I had to
Right.
really focus on the brake on my foot.
So you kind of
Oh,
had to
yeah.
retrain your brain on this is
I
not
did.
yeah.
So I think if you're going from a 2-wheel to a 3-wheel, you really have to pay attention. So if you're going from a 3-wheel to a 2-wheel, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
which
what I
is what
Yeah.
she did. Yeah.
I mean,
That's true.
neither way is optimal or easy, I
Or
guess,
idea,
because you
yeah.
have to pay attention no matter what and gear up, like you said. But yeah, I'd ridden 2 wheels all my life, and I got on that Can-Am, and I was like, whoa, I really got to pay attention because I don't have the clutch. I don't
Now,
have the
Chris,
clutch to
Chris,
pull
did
in,
you ever
know?
try it?
What was that, Tracy? You was
Did
breaking
you
up a
ever?
little bit.
I didn't mean to. Did you ever test drive one? I didn't want to interrupt Connie.
Oh, Connie has.
No, I know, but did you test ride it
Have
as
not.
well or
No,
no?
no. I was. We went on vacation, but I was actually in a lot of pain. If I would have got on that thing, I probably would have just took it to a curve and just ended myself because I had that tooth problem.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's right. You had that.
It's so painful. I mean, I was like drinking water over and over and over, and it was just
I
a
tried
painful.
I tried to pay Connie to hit you with a baseball bat while you were sleeping, but she wouldn't do it.
Oh, it was tempting.
I've never. I mean, I've had. Yeah, it's funny. I've had toothaches before, but this was
Yeah.
this was over the the toothache. It was the whole side of the face. I'm glad we figured out what it was and what was causing the problem. It wasn't like a cavity or anything like that. It wasn't that kind of pain. It was just it was fire every day. It was nuts. But anyway, so Connie, when you got on the Vulcan S, what was the difference then? I mean, you remember when we went to the actual churches, the parking lots, and got you to ride a little bit.
Yeah, I thought going to the church parking lot, I was closer to God that way if anything happened. So
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
that's a good way to look at it.
yeah. Well, on all these mini bikes, and in my 20s, I had a Honda. I forget what it was, a 650 something. On all these, you're gonna hate this, Chris.
Oh, go ahead. You know me.
They all had mid controls, dear. All mid controls.
Yeah.
and he puts me on this Vulcan that you can adjust, but we just never could get the controls far enough back to where I was comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll still ride it, but
But it just doesn't fit you the way you want it to fit.
It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm more leery, I guess. You know, I mean, I rode it across the ferry down in Rising Sun and to Rabbit Hash and back, and I think you were shocked because that was the first time I'd gotten on that Vulcan and rode it anywhere a distance.
Yeah, that's pretty funny because we were riding down State Line, and we were supposed to turn, and I just kept on going. So she couldn't return to go home.
Yeah.
So we had to go straight down, and said, "Let's go take a ride. We'll see how well you are." I mean, sometimes you got to push a little bit. I knew I was never going to go like 80 miles per hour or anything like that. I knew I had to go slow. I just wanted to make sure that she felt comfortable with it. And then she rode all the way to Rabbit Hash, Kentucky.
Now, wait a minute.
Pretty wild.
Was she pissed at you for this? Were you pissed at him, Connie?
No.
It was fun. It was really fun, but I still wasn't comfortable because the mid controls were out in front of me instead of underneath of me.
And I want to be completely honest. Okay. So I've never rode a motorcycle with mid controls. Okay. But I can tell you, I'm more comfortable in the mid position on long trips. Like when because I have these, pedals and what do you call highway bars and highway pegs and stuff like that. And I can put my foot out there, but literally when I'm enjoying the ride the most, I'm actually in the kind of the mid control kind of thing. Cause I got 4 boards. I can put my feet back and they feel like they're right underneath me. And I can feel like I'm going like this. And it is, I mean, I understand what she's saying. It is a more comfortable ride. I think, forward controls are a little bit more, I think, for somebody who's been riding forever and are used to it, and they kind of progress to that, and they can put their feet up like that.
Or they have long legs like you and can do that.
Well, you know what? But I still like the mid control position better. What's that?
That surprises me with how tall you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad this is being taped.
Right.
Yeah, recorded.
But I mean, and Connie, I'm the same way as you are. I have to be comfortable, and these upgrades that I just made a week ago on the Harley have made a huge difference in my confidence level, even just this last week. And I've been riding for 5-6 years now, but the comfortability of the motorcycle is huge. And anybody out there that rides would probably say the same thing.
Yeah, well, I could probably jump on that Nightster and take right off.
Yeah, especially with the new seat and the way how much comfortable the seat is. Yeah, I think you would.
Yeah.
And
come over, take it for a spin. I don't care.
Oh, I will.
As long as you don't go through the
don't be like my wife and run into the curb.
Oh, I won't. There's a clutch
came
there.
up to meet me.
The curb came up to meet her. It met you all right.
It won.
It did. No. The doctors and the hospitals won. Trust me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're still winning.
They're still winning.
They're still winning.
They got a lifelong lottery out of us.
Yeah. But the Indian Chief and talk about the seat that you have. I think a lot of people kind of, their upgrade. Their first one is the seat, or the handlebars,
which is something that
And I think Connie would be the same thing on the Indian Chief that I got, the bobber. The seat was there was a slight curve to it. And that's it. And then you was off the bike. When I literally pulled that throttle back, I could feel myself going back. And now you got a seat that's kind of got a backbone to it.
And that's exactly the way the Nightster was. Yeah. When I get on the throttle, man,
that's going to greatly improve your ability and feel comfortable with high speeds.
And I got a little bit of wind protection now. So I just feel like I'm going to be much better when we get out there on the road.
And when I rode the Vulcan S, without the windshield to work one day, and it was kind of brisk, and I understand, when that wind's at your chest, and I felt like, man, there's going to be a rock that's going to hit me right in the freaking chest.
Yeah, I have been hit before, so it sucks.
Yeah, and then windshields, they kind of protect you for that, so
a little bit,
which is good, yeah. But I mean, it's cool. I mean, but anyway, so Connie, what do you think? Are you going to get a motorcycle, or are you going to get a Riker?
Well,
or whatever it's called.
Oh, the Spyder?
The Spyder, yeah.
Well, Heather's on here. Heather's actually going to take a class, I believe, in October for the Spyders, for the 3-wheelers.
And I think is it on the Spyder or is it on the Riker?
She's interested in the Spyder. I think she sat on one at Sturgis.
When you say Spyder, are you talking about the RTs or are you talking about the F3s?
F3.
F3.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Okay.
F3s. Okay.
Yeah. But this one had the bags on it, so maybe it was an F3T, maybe.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah,
have to look it up.
she's gonna take a class. I think she'll be getting one probably next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I really, really liked the Sport Chief, and Chris knows exactly which one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
The
white
the
one.
gray one?
It
Oh,
was
the white one.
Yeah, the white one.
Yeah.
Was that down in Lexington? That was in Lexington.
Well, they had one at Northern Kentucky Indian.
Did they?
Yeah,
Must have
right.
sold.
Yeah, but it sold.
It must have sold.
And it's sold. I mean, they got it from another dealer. So Tracy, this is possible. They got it at another dealer, or they brought it over and they sold it to her. So
they sold it to this other lady, so we got in quite the conversation.
yeah, I wish we gave her a
nice.
card.
Yeah,
I'd like to know
she
how
was
she likes it.
stoked.
Yeah.
She was
Well,
stoked
they
about it.
did get the Sport Chief in red like I wanted. No,
Oh,
no,
they
no. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I'm lying. They got the 101 in red.
Okay.
Yeah, the
The
Scout.
Scout. They got
Yeah,
that
they
one?
just got the red one in. Yes.
Mhm.
Wow.
And they did get another Super Scout, and it's black. I'm not sure if it's the same as the one that we saw.
You like that
I-
Super Scout.
I really like the Super Scout a lot.
Yeah, you did.
But to be quite honest with you, minus the bags, I've kind of got the Nightster kind of set up like that now.
Oh yeah.
With the new seat and the windshield, it's kind of
Mhm.
set up just like that Super Scout was. The only thing different now is I don't have the bags.
But you can do the bags
I could
later.
I could do the
Yeah.
bags. That might be one of my next projects on there between that and the.
Well, the bags that you showed
Oh.
me that look like they're squares, don't get them.
No, I already
Yeah.
X'd those out.
No.
Yeah.
If I do
was like,
anything,
that
I'll
looks
go
so
with.
ugly.
They did, and if I do anything, I'll go with the original Harley bags. It'll be a lot more costly. It'll be $1,000, but it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
That's why I said later.
Yeah, that's why she said later.
Later. That's
Yeah,
why it's
see,
gonna be.
Heather's on here. She said she can't wait for her class, October 19th and 20th, and she's
Oh yeah,
looking at purchasing the Spyder. I thought it was. She's gonna get her a Spyder.
Did you
Nice.
get
So
on the
she-
wait list for that, Connie?
For what, the Spyder or the class?
For the class?
Oh, they had a couple openings back then. I mean,
Right.
Well,
she
you
signed
talked
up.
about getting on the wait list.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I didn't get on the wait list yet. I was kind of looking to
It's
see if I
time
could
to do it.
Yeah.
Time to
I was
build
gonna
up.
say, are they booked on that particular weekend?
They
Maybe
are.
you. Oh, I
Mhm.
was gonna say you and Jill could have joined in, and all
Yeah,
three of you could have
they're
done it.
sold out. I went in there and I
Yeah.
was like, oh no, that class is sold out. So
Now, is Josh and Jennifer giving that class, or is that gonna be somebody different?
It's somebody
it's
different.
somebody different, yeah.
Okay.
She said she might stop by though.
Okay.
So
Yep.
she said looking at the Spyder
Oh yeah. Let me get the.
F3T or F3 Limited.
Oh, okay. So those are the upgraded versions of the F3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one she was on looked really cool. It was that teal color. That
Yeah, I'll look
bluish
those
teal.
up later and get.
Yeah, it was
better
really
visuals.
nice.
Went off. You're
What's
not
that?
making noise.
What's going on?
Nope.
Oh, some fans making some noise or something.
Chris, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're having issues with our headsets.
Okay, that's fine. Well, we're almost been here on an hour. I think we had a pretty good podcast. I know.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Max when he sees the whole thing. I want to hear his responses.
I do have a couple questions for people watching. If you think that this is a podcast should be around 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 7:30, that'd be great. You guys can put in the comments, and that way we can get this time narrowed down. I know some people get off work or they're doing something and they can't make it here till on time. And I'd rather us start when our actual, subscribers are watching. I think that'd be cool, and then that way they don't have to, miss any moment or anything like that. But we do have we're gonna have a guest coming up, and it's gonna be a pretty good guest. Ride with Purpose is he's looking at doing a guest on the being a guest on the podcast in the future. I'm going to be actually talking to him tomorrow night. Hopefully, he's going to let me know midday. He's from, I believe, Michigan, or I think it's Michigan, up there in the great state of Michigan. And he's got a YouTube presence. He's been on YouTube for a while, and he's been making a splash. So I've been watching some of his videos. Anyway, I do want to talk about, let me see here. I got some more comments I got to do here. So let's do that. So she's looking for that, the F3T or F3 Limited. I guess she didn't look at that one that the football player had, huh? One of the Cincinnati Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals, I think it was Nixon, had a one of them actually for sale. And I thought they were going to look it up, but I don't think they did. Maybe they sold it before they got there. Anyway, 7 or 7:30 works for Heather. That's cool. All right. And let's see what else. So I go on Facebook, and there's a couple groups that I don't even have a Harley Davidson. And I go to Hogworks with a Z all the time, and they do have some Indian motorcycle parts. But I do go to their website, and they allow me to go in there and post our podcast all the time. So I want to thank them. And if you want to go to their website, look for some parts. They do have some.
They make some great parts. By the way,
they make some really good parts. Great parts, yeah, right. And they also make some Indian parts. Believe it or not, more and more people are jumping on the Indian bandwagon, but it is still hard to find. Let me see if I can get the 2-person guest thing here and see if I can get this website up here. That's not working. We'll go through a couple changes here and see where we're at. There we go. So that's their website right there. This is some of the parts that they have for Indian motorcycles. They especially have the bag liners, which are really cool. And I really would like to have these for Christmas. So what you can do with a big bag liner, put your stuff in there, and then you can close it and take it into the hotel.
Hey Chris, Mark is missing.
Mark is missing.
Look at your
Yeah,
screen.
look at your screen.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, it's okay. I was going through the screens. Mark is not here.
I just thought that was funny.
He's making his Christmas list.
It's a Christmas list. Yeah, you know what? I do have some plans. This is going to be pretty cool. So we're going to have a Halloween podcast. That might be it. I'm going to talk to Mike and see if we can do that one at the actual Indian dealership. And
that would be sweet. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
And then if anybody wants to show up, they can show up in a costume, and we'll put you on. And we'll have a little bit of a stand with a mic, and you can ask questions, towards us. I mean, I know that we did get a couple more subscribers tonight, which I thank you all. That's great news. I think we're at 151. We're moving up. Well, that's
Travis
good.
will do it. Travis will show up. Travis will show up in costume and ask you all kinds of questions.
Yeah, do you want to bring your kids?
Yeah, dance for you. Hell.
I'll buy some candy, and we'll give out some candy to kids. I'll get with Mike and see what we can do about that. I think that'd be pretty cool. And we'll talk about any of the motorcycles they have there. And then let's see, what else was I gonna do? We got special guests. We probably have Max on here again because Max was really good last time. Maybe Glennie rides, and then Josh. It's time.
Josh has to get on. Josh and Jen need to get on.
Yeah, and his wife has to get on.
I feel like if they do it as a duo, they'll be more comfortable and be a little bit, Yeah, I think they both need to get on there.
And then Mark, missing Mark, is in the chat. So
yeah, I see Mark. There he is.
He's here.
He's laughing out loud though.
Yes,
laughing out loud. Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Yep. And if you go to that website, you can give me some Christmas presents. Yeah, exactly. All right. So the end of this thing almost, unless you got anything else you want to talk about, Tracy.
No, I'm good. Oh, my son says he loves Glennie.
Oh yeah, Glennie's he released another video.
Super cool dude.
Yeah, Glennie's pretty cool. And then I'm looking to get other guests on this podcast, and hopefully we get all that stuff ironed out. Some bigger YouTubers on here. We'll see how that works out. So look forward to that. And this is how you can reach out to us. If you are watching right now and you ain't subscribed, please go to YouTube and subscribe. And it's at Iron Pony Life. Instagram, we haven't really did much on Instagram, but yeah. I mean, some of the posts from Facebook actually convert to Instagram automatically. So that does do that. X, we're trying to get more involved in X. It's the third popular platform. We also are on locals.com, the Iron Pony Life, and that is a kind of a a little forum kind of area where you can, connect with us. That is in development. It's not 100% done. So just if you go there, it might say not working yet or that kind of stuff. And then on Facebook, this is where if you're not, I mean, I know you're friends with me. This is where this is at. Right now, we're at 46 members on Facebook, but we need 100 members to be able to do lives on the actual page for Iron Pony Life. So if you go to facebook.com/Iron Pony Life and follow the page, that helps us out greatly. And then you can go to ironponylife.com. That's where all our merch is and that kind of stuff. Hopefully I got some new ones coming out pretty soon for Halloween and also Christmas. We'll see how that works out. But I actually kind of make all of the images and that kind of stuff. I don't use no AI or anything like that. I actually spend like 20 hours to make a shirt design. Sometimes it's crazy. It starts out completely different by the end, and it's pretty wild how it works out. But that's usually the case
with me sitting there saying I don't like that.
I don't like that. I don't like that. That kind of stuff.
There's always got to be the final judge. She's the judge.
But anyway, I think that's going to be it. Tracy, what do you think?
I think so, man. Good show. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and I hope Max gets to rewatch the first part, and hopefully he enjoys that as well.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody, have a good night.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Bye.
Like, subscribe. Have a good night.
Push past all the pain that you're going through. It won't last if you move how you want to move. Get lost in the work that you got to do to be someone.